coming off of an NBA Finals appearance where they lost in 6 games to the Golden State Warriors, the Boston Celtics have gone into the 2022 NBA offseason, and they've gotten much, much better. First was the trade for Malcom Brogdon, where they basically gave up a bag of potato chips and a first-round pick and bring in Brogdon, former NBA Rookie of the Year. They also go out and get Danillo Gallinari in free agency, who played for the Hawks last season. He is getting up there in age, but with the contract buyout, he's now on a much, much better deal, much more team-friendly contract, and it's time for the Killer Jays, to take that next step forward and to be perennial finals contenders. So we're going to talk about all that and more in today's video. Make sure to like button and subscribe button if you do enjoy at any point. Leave me a comment down below. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Looking at GM Brad Stevens, he has done a phenomenal job. I believe the Al Horford deal was his first as the GM. That turned out great. Ime Udoka coming in to coach the team, that he led him to the finals in his first year. Derek White, that deal was just a masterclass, and then you bring in Malcom Brogdon and Danilo Gallinari to make this team even better, and I think he has done a phenomenal job so far. Now, first up, Danilo Gallinari, who, as we mentioned, played for the Atlanta Hawks last year. He put up some good numbers on what was kind of a disappointing Hawks team last year, almost 12 points per game and almost 5 rebounds a night. So bringing that into the Boston Celtics, coming off the bench to be, that veteran guy, kind of the Al Horford off the bench, because Horford started for most of that playoff run. So that's a nice addition to this squad. And then you bring in the former NBA Rookie of the Year, Malcom Brogdon. Now, you send out a 2023 first-round pick. That's the big part of this deal. Aaron Nesmith, he has a little bit of potential. There's always a spot in the NBA for a 6'8 guy that can shoot the ball, but he has been very disappointing so far in his time in Boston as a former lottery pick, and then Daniel Tice goes back to Indiana. But the Celtics are the big winners here, getting Malcom Brogdon, another point guard type player. They can come in, and Peyton Pritchard doesn't have to be the backup point guard anymore. Although I love Peyton Pritchard, you can rely more on Malcom Brogdon and maybe even start him, although he is said to be viewed as more of a backup guy. Now, the wing duo, the Kawhi and Paul George of the Eastern Conference here, Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And they were able to ride these guys all the way into the NBA Finals. This year, you look at Jayson Tatum's numbers, 27 points per game there when you round up, 8 rebounds a night, 4.5 assists, shot at 45% from the field, 35% from 3. Just a breakout season for Jayson Tatum as he leads his team to the NBA Finals. And I think he is now viewed as, a full-time superstar instead of, in spurts. Jaylen Brown as well, 24 points per game, or 23.5, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, shooting at 47% from the field. And if one of them's off, the other one's going to be on. We saw Jaylen Brown have a couple of moments in the NBA Finals. Tatum had, somewhat of a rough Finals debut, but, I expect him to bounce back. Still very, very young, both of them are. So they still have years and years to compete in the Eastern Conference, and what will probably be a weaker Eastern Conference and West. Now, the true point guard here, Marcus Smart said he was good enough. They don't need a true point guard. The Defensive Player of the Year this year, even though he got cooked by Steph Curry in the Finals, it happens to the best of them. Taking a look at his numbers last year, he put up 12.3 points per game, 6 assists, again, as we talked about, the primary point guard type guy in that lineup, and 1.7 steals. Now, the argument can be made, because the Celtics had the most turnovers in the history of the NBA Finals, at least Jayson Tatum did, that they need a true point guard. So bringing in Brogdon, that's definitely going to help. Now, people need to put some respect on the Time Lord's name. He is officially elite, one of the better rim protectors in the NBA, and he can also switch out and guard the ball, as you're about to see in this clip here. He's a stud. Looking at his numbers on the season, he put up 10 points per game as well as 10 rebounds, so an efficient double-double there, and then 2.2 blocks, and we saw on down the line. Just look at this. Man was able to guard Chris Paul in the half court. He can switch on to Luka Doncic. He's just incredible. One of the most versatile guys in the NBA right now. Hopefully, Mark Williams can turn into the Robert Williams for the Charlotte Hornets. Now, who is going to be that replacement guy for Al Horford? Because Brad Stevens came out and said, Al's getting old. We're going to need a guy like him in the future. Danillo Gallinari, he could possibly be that guy off the bench to help out Al Horford, with maybe playing less minutes. But other than that, there's not really a guy, maybe like Grant Williams, but he's not 6'11". So they're going to have to find that guy that can come in to replace Al Horford. Now, a great coaching hire, Ime Udoka. I think Brad Stevens did a phenomenal job with this. When you look at Ime Udoka, the first part of the season was rough. People were wondering, why did this guy get the coaching job? Then they start winning. They ride that momentum all the way to the NBA Finals, where he goes up against a super staff in year one. Before Kenny Atkinson decided to back out of being the Hornets head coach. And that was just the beginning of a downward spiral for the Hornets this offseason. Before that happened, he was facing off against two future NBA coaches, and then, of course, Steve Kerr. So hats off to Udoka. He did a very nice job this season. Now, taking a look at the lineup this year with Malcom Brogdon viewed as more of a sixth-man option per Celtics reports. This is what the starting lineup is going to look like. A lot like that team that just went on that huge run to the NBA Finals with Marcus Smart starting at the point guard position. Of course, this is kind of positionless basketball because you've got two wings, two centers, and then a shooting guard in your lineup. So pretty positionless, but we got Marcus Smart at the 1, Jayson Tatum at the 3, Jaylen Brown at the 2, and then Al Horford at the 4 and Robert Williams at the 5. Of course, with this lineup just going to the NBA Finals is very battle-tested. I think it's a very nice lineup. I think they continue to compete, probably have a really good chance to make it back to the NBA Finals next year. Now, the bench. This is the big-time improvement part. You also have Peyton Pritchard, who I didn't throw in there, but Malcom Brogdon and Derek White. That's a very, very nice guard combo off the bench. Brogdon, of course, being a bigger guard, will probably take some time getting used to. And we'll see if he does end up bumping somebody from the starting lineups to the bench. But I don't think you can start him over one of Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, or Jayson Tatum. I don't think you can do that. But Brogdon and Derek White coming off the bench together in the backcourt, and then you got Grant Williams at the 3, Danillo Gallinari stepping into that 4 spot as the guy that can kind of step out and knock down the 3 ball and then go back at you inside, not the best defender in the world. And then Luke Cornett is going to be holding down the backup center minutes for the Boston Celtics this year. So yeah, that's kind of a look at the lineups. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy at any point, make sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button, as it really helps us out in the YouTube algorithm. Also, leave me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the Boston Celtics. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video.